Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of All Things Money, and today we have a very special guest and someone who I would say is the busiest day of us all in Karachi. That's the Mayor of Karachi, Mr. Murtaza Wahab. How are you doing, Murtaza?
Very well so far.
You've had fairly busy days over the last few weeks.
It's the same, but it never changes.
It never changes?
The city never sleeps.
And nothing with the rain and everything as well? Or you don't sleep at that point?
I don't sleep.
Yeah, I can figure that out. So, all right. So, Karachi, Murtaza, again, it's one of the bigger cities in the world, and I would say one of the more chaotic bigger cities in the world. Even if it's among the top 10 cities, I would say it's one of the most chaotic around. What exactly is the population of Karachi?
Your guess can be as good as mine. The official documents suggest that the city has a population of 20.3 million people. Experts, people who work in the field, different surveys, they suggest otherwise. I feel we're a city of somewhere between 27 to 30 million people.
But why is there so much deviation with the census numbers and with other estimates? I agree with you, there are a lot of estimates that can be pertaining to sewage water or waste collection. There are multiple ways to estimate the number. Why is there such a massive difference?
I think the proper appropriate response can come from the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, which has the absolute responsibility to carry out this task. Back in 23, I believe, when the process of census was going on, I was part of the provincial government, and we used to engage, in fact it was 2022, we used to engage with the federal government saying that whatever data is collected, it should have three parts. One part should remain with the local deputy commissioner, who is the representative of the provincial government. One copy should be with the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics for collating the data, and one copy should be with some federal government department, so that whatever dispute or deviation or anomaly exists in the numbers, that can be corroborated by way of those documents. But unfortunately, the response of the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics was that the information is confidential and this information cannot be shared. I think just to rest this controversy, whenever the next census takes place, I think the policymakers must look into this issue and should ensure that there should be multiple copies with multiple departments, so that nobody can then cast any sort of doubt with regards to the veracity of the entire process.
So when we look at the census numbers, population, there's fairly granular data available, right down to the level of a circle. You've got districts, and then you've got divisions, and then you've got at a circle level, the population data is there. Like for example, if you look at Lyari or South or whatever, there's a lot of granularity available. Why can't we just look at it on a sample basis?
We can. I'll give an example. Back in 2017, when the census had taken place, the constitutional legal process is that the census is carried out, it goes to the Council of Common Interest for its approval, and thereafter the federal government notifies it. So after the process of census had culminated, the matter went to the Council of Common Interest. Shahid Khaqan Abbasi was the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Murad Ali Shah was representing the province of Sindh as the Chief Minister at that point of time. We objected to the population of Karachi. And our basis was that the per family size in Punjab and KP was probably adjudicated at 6.5.
6.5 or 7, yeah.
Right, and in Sindh and Balochistan they had kept it at 4.5. So our basic argument was that if you do it at the same level, if you keep us at par, the census was saying that our population was 48 million of the province. If you do it at par with other provinces, it would be probably 62 or 63 million. Now that's perhaps what, 25% more than the actual number. And we showed it to them, right? Eventually, the census was not approved. It was a conditional approval was given, and thereafter, during the time of Imran Khan, a fresh census process was carried out. Again, all throughout that process, we kept saying that you need to corroborate the information. There is no harm in sharing information. It is the day and age of information technology. You have Nadra to further.
The first digital census, the census that was done, it was the first digital census, and I believe there should be no harm in actually double checking those numbers, or even at a sample basis.
How much money do you have in your pocket? I can never know that, right? Yeah. That's something which is known to you. But let's say if you make it open that you're carrying 1,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, right? It will become all the more transparent. So there's no harm, there was no harm in doing that. But unfortunately, the federal government did not agree with it, and hence there's a dispute. I, as the mayor of the city of Karachi, or Murad Ali Shah as the chief minister of the province of Sindh, our point of view is very simple. That if we are to plan and develop our district, our division, our province, we need to be absolutely sure of the number of people that we are catering to. If I do not know, if he does not know how many people are we supposed to cater for, how would we be able to plan and then develop things accordingly?
So that's the thing, official number 20, you're saying around 27 million, that's a 30% delta roughly, and the difference of about 7 million, that's bigger than most cities in the world at this, for most large cities in the world at that point.
Can I just interject?
Yeah.
There was a recent survey that was done about the livable cities in the world. I believe Copenhagen was the number one city. Its population was
2 million,
6.5 lakh, right? Just imagine 6.5 lakh, and we are passing judgments comparing Copenhagen with Karachi, right?
So that's the thing, that's what I always say. Scale is important, understanding scale is important. People live in suburbia and then compare themselves to Karachi, it's just like random behavior. You cannot compare a large city with tons of problems with a completely random white suburb anywhere in the world. All right, so population, we don't know how many people exist. That is literally the first problem to solve, and only after that you can plan well. We have the Sindh Bureau of Statistics that exists. Why not hold a parallel census exercise?
I think constitutionally, the process of census is the exclusive responsibility of the federal government. That institution can come in aid of the federal government, but census is an exclusive subject which is in part 2 of the federal legislative list. That's why it goes to the Council of Common Interest. So no province, whether it's Punjab, Sindh, KP or Balochistan, we can't do it in isolation.
For example, you're the mayor. I'm just hypothetically speaking, you're the mayor, and you say, what, I need to do better planning, I need better delivery, and I need better numbers. To do that, why can't you hold a private exercise? It may not be the census, but for the sake of own internal development, for example, you will have many companies on the ground selling FMCG goods, everything. They would know exactly how many shops exist, how many people in the people have internal estimates. Do we have any such estimate internally at the level of KMC or at the level of the city?
I'll give an example. When I took over, the data that was existing with Karachi Water Sewerage Corporation or with KMC, that had to do with 1.4 million households in the city. When I looked at the data of Karachi Electric, they had 3.6 million consumers.
Yeah.
So the difference is very visible. The root of the issue, Ammar, is that we are such a politically polarized society. If today I were to carry out this task, aspersion would immediately be put on the entire process. I keep saying that there are certain issues that we should not be doing politics on. For example, if you speak to any political leader of the city of Karachi, he will be very quick to point out the issues and the core issues, that these are the issues that we need to address. And he will again, or she will again say that this is the solution as well. But how do you go about it and who takes the credit? That becomes the problem, right? And that's the issue with Karachi. If I, as the mayor of the city of Karachi, whatever decision I make today, that is questioned politically, that is questioned socially, that is questioned in the courts of our province, and that leads to eventual lack of credibility in whatever institutional framework we are trying to enforce. So at this point of time, when there's so much firefighting, where people are basically more concerned about whether their sewerage issues are getting resolved, whether their water issues are getting resolved, they're not focusing on whether you're planning and developing for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Right now, your municipal bodies or your government institutions all over the country, they're focusing on day-to-day affairs, firefighting. So at this point of time, I don't think, though it's very important, I think in terms of governance, there will not be an immediate impact of such an exercise, and that's why it's not in the priority bucket list. But yes, eventually there are a number of ways where this data can be obtained from. I gave you the example of the utility organizations. We can again corroborate that data from NADRA, whether the data that they are suggesting, whether that is there or not. And then we have the polio exercise as well. So there are 3-4 institutions which are carrying this process in silos.
And mobile networks at this point, I mean, you just count the number of connections, adjust that for any dual connection, and it's fairly easy to get a ballpark number, and then you can say what the actual population is or what the real number.
Ballpark number, Ammar, I'm
27 million.
Yeah,
ballpark,
27. Yeah. Ballpark. We need to. You see, if let's say, if after the process we are to come to this conclusion that the population is 27 million, but eventually or actually it is 30 million, then again it's a problem. So if you are carrying out an exercise, then I would say the exercise has to be foolproof, so that for the next 10, 15, 20 years you can give out the plan that this is the future of the city of Karachi.
So population, one thing, just extending this forward. Population is one of the metrics on the basis of ideally funds are disbursed, whether that's through the NFC, which hasn't been possible for a while now, or whether 15 years, or whether there's provincial PFC, which has never happened for that matter.
No, it has happened. The last time it happened was in 2008.
Again, so it's been a while. Okay? And
PFC was 2010, PFC was 2008.
so yes, and then so does the population number even matter, because is financial allocation done on the basis of that, or just more on the basis of arbitrary decisions at this point?
You see, the population is important when it comes to the NFC allocation, and it's a barometer. It is stated in the
at the national level.
At the national level, right? So perhaps this is a very good question as to why the population of Sindh
is understated.
Because again, the resources come on the basis of the population numbers. When it comes to the province, back in 1998, all the divisions or districts, the municipal governments used to get octroi zilla tax, which was abolished during the time of Mr. Nawaz Sharif when he was Prime Minister for the second time. And they said, we will collect GST and we will give you an OZT share. That OZT share comes to every single district. So in Karachi, it comes to the Karachi Metropolitan Corporation, which is one entity, and it also comes to all the town municipal corporations, which are 25 in number. So whatever was the formula of PFC.
But OZT is a very small number.
Yeah. But you see, there are a lot of things which are not part of that provincial share. I'll give an example. We keep saying that how much money do we get from this body, this entity. Every single entity has its own legislative field. It has its own legislative competence to impose tax, to levy tax, to impose fines and collect the amount. Now I'll give an example of Mumbai. Mumbai, in terms of property tax, collects 19 billion Indian rupee, which is approximately 50 billion Pakistani rupees at this point of time. The total property tax collection from the city of Karachi is 1.6 billion. Now, there was an argument that because it is collected at the provincial level, that's why it is not so efficient. We should devolve it to the towns. So government decided to amend the law. This was given to the towns. Now the 25 towns of Karachi, they are supposed to collect the property tax from those respective dwellings. So whether it's North Nazimabad town, the provincial government does not do it, KMC does not do it, North Nazimabad town will do it. Liari town will do it, Gulberg town will do it, Malir town will do it, Jinnah town will do it, Sadr town will do it. Now just imagine 1.6 billion and 50 billion. So if let's say our councils start to collect that amount in a fair, transparent manner, so if it's not 50 billion rupees, it will be what? Let's say 10%.
5 billion, 7 billion,
right? So from 1.5 billion rupees, 1.6 billion, you increase 3 times, more than 3 times to reach 5 billion rupees. And that 5 billion quantum will enable you to carry out more infrastructure development projects within the vicinity of your council, right? So unfortunately, None of the leaders in the past have focused on this aspect, that this is our responsibility to increase our revenue share. And that's a problem in our system. We are so used to of getting money from someone.
Handouts, for that matter.
And that's a problem. I feel as a nation, if we are to sustain ourselves, this is one area where I think our local councils have to improve their performance. When I took over KMC, the total revenue, the municipal tax that we used to collect in the entire year, Ammar, was 200 million rupees, 20 crore rupees annually.
Nothing.
That was collected by a private company. 43.8 million rupees used to be given to that private company. So effectively 150 million rupees annually used to come to KMC to carry out its task, right? And you can take the numbers from my predecessors as well. We decided to, because the process was already outsourced to a private company, we decided that this should not be a private company, private contractor doing it. We decided to do it through our electric bills. Last month, which is the month of July 2025, the amount of money that I have received or collected in terms of my municipal tax was 340 million rupees in a month.
On a monthly basis.
Right?
Yes.
That's twice, more than twice of what was the annual collection. For the first time in many years, KMC has started to pay its electricity bills itself. So after paying my electricity bill, after paying the collection fee of K Electric, 225 million rupees were credited into the account of KMC. Right? So just by tweaking the process, reducing the tax slab,
making it more efficient.
right, we got the money. Why can't we do it with regards to property tax? Why can't we do it with regards to advertisement tax? Why can't we do it with regards to trade license fee? Why can't we do it with regards to the meat and the chicken that comes into the city, the milk products that come into the city? So all of these things are in the legislative competence, but because we focus more on handouts, we've not really been able to create
The competence. So again, coming on that, you're the mayor. I mean, how do you develop that capacity and the competence at the town level, at the various legislative unit level? What needs to be, is it being done already? What needs to be done differently so that you've got more sustaining towns or more sustainable source of revenue coming in?
We should talk less and work more. Simple. I mean, if the target of a town chairman, which is led by a political party, you see, I am the representative of Pakistan People's Party. But once I've assumed the charge of the mayor of the city of Karachi,
it should be irrelevant. You're presenting the people, work for the people of Karachi.
I am working for the people of Karachi. So I don't think that this is my area, this is your area. This is our area, right?
Yeah,
so similarly, the political opponents who are in different towns, they should not be focusing on pinpointing the issues. The problem is, for example, I was giving you, so Karachi Metropolitan Corporation, we have 25 towns. Out of those 25 towns, 9 towns are with Jamaat Islami, 3 towns are with PTI. So 12 towns are with the opposition, 13 towns are with People's Party. So 50-50, right? When anything happens in the city, the towns are nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. Nobody questions them. The question is asked from me. So first issue that I feel is that there is no linkage between KMC and the towns. There has to be a link.
I'm just surprised, I'm shocked at this
There is no question of answerability. And that, in my view, is the biggest issue that I'm facing at this point of time.
So how do we ensure do towns exist as independent entities or as part of KMC? How do we ensure accountability?
They are a separate electoral unit.
But should electoral unit be part of administration?
I feel I'm a great proponent of devolution. I feel that the more down you go, I think the situation will improve. But I believe there should be linkage in the form of a pyramid. So towns should operate in a manner that is provided for in the law, but they should be answerable to the mayor of the city of Karachi. Today I am the mayor, tomorrow somebody else would be the mayor. If they feel that they will not be accountable to the mayor of the city of Karachi, or let's say to the provincial government, I think efficacy would somehow...
You can never have a well-oiled machine running
So
like
that's the issue, that let's say I'm going in this direction, they are going in this direction.
Or no direction at all.
I will not be so acrimonious to say
I will.
no direction. But,
I will be.
They need to, I have strong reservations with regards to the way and manner they have performed.
All right. So again, we see, this is an administrative problem where the towns need to be, I would say, administratively independent and not be beholden to electoral politics for that matter, because service delivery is more important. As you said earlier, if you're the mayor of Karachi, regardless of whatever the political party is, and as it should be. So, putting this to the side, let's just focus on key issues of Karachi. One of the bigger issues I feel in Karachi is transportation. A lot of work has been done on BRT. Tons more can be done. Why? Two questions here. Why is it so slow? And what can be done to really fast track it? I'll give you an example. The University Road Red Line. I don't know, it's been like 5 years, 6 years. I don't even know how many years it has been at this point. I go to IB to teach, and it's a pain in, I won't say pain in where, a backside, pain in whatever, to just get it. Actually painful at that point in your rear on the roads and everything. How do we solve this problem? Why can't we fast track infrastructure projects? So what are the blockers there?
Okay. I'm very candid with regards to admitting our mistakes. And transport is one area where I think we've not been able to deliver in the manner that people expected and our leadership also expected. So I accept that. So work started late. Now, what are the issues? Red Line, Ammar, when it was contracted out at a time when inflation had not hit Pakistan. This is, I think, 2019,
2019 inflation,
right?
hit, everything doubled. I understand that.
So, the contractors had gotten the contract. It is funded by the Asian Development Bank. So, the availability of funds is not an issue. So, funds are there. It was divided into two lots, Lot A and Lot B, and there are two separate contractors which were supposed to carry out the work. Due to one reason or the other, the work got delayed. Because of the delay, inflation also happened, and that led to a situation where the contractor said, we cannot carry out this task for 100 rupees, right? We need this to
Escalation.
be escalated. Now, the law, which is the procurement law of Pakistan, federal level PEPRA, provincial level SEPRA, that says that escalation to the extent of 15% is permissible. So let's say if I'm giving you a contract for 100 rupees, if let's say due to some unavoidable circumstances, the situation has changed and I need to change the bid amount, it can be, changed up to 15%. So it can be 115. The contractor claims that I need 200 rupees for this. He's seeking double the amount. I'm not quoting the exact number, I'm just trying to create that scenario in front of you. Now, under the law, it is not permissible. The bureaucrat who is supposed to carry out the task, or the company which is carrying out that task, which is Trans Karachi, they are skeptical, because there has been a practice in our country that every single decision is questioned. And you have seen a situation where some out-of-the-box solutions were found which were in the best interest of the people of Pakistan, and that led to a situation where people got arrested. Miftah Ismail is an example. He got arrested. Shahid Khaqan Abbasi got arrested for carrying out an LNG deal which at that point of time was in the best interest. The Chief Minister of Sindh was implicated in a NAB case regarding Sindh Nooriabad Power Company, the whole purpose of which was to bring cheap electricity to the city of Karachi, 100 megawatts gas-based plant. But nobody actually thought that the spirit of that transaction was in the best interest of the people of the city of Karachi, best interest of the people of Pakistan. They just said that, this was not proper. So that creates problem. And I want to say this very openly. We as a nation, if we are to move forward, we have to back the people who are deciding. If I am the person who's calling the shots at this point of time, I need to be sure that I will not be questioned for everything. The problem is that every single decision is questioned, right? I keep saying that not every decision is a good decision. It may be a bad decision, but not necessarily a corrupt decision. We basically say that every decision is a corrupt decision, And that has led to a situation in the last, I would say, 7-8 years, status quo.
Service delivery has slowed down.
So if we are to find plausible solutions for the future, we need to articulate this argument that, the parliament is there, they should oversee, get good people in parliament, right, who are technically sound, include technocrats, right, people who understand the industry to do that. But just because, I don't take a phone call of a certain person, that certain person gets upset with me, lodges a complaint against me, and I get into trouble. So that's the problem. And red line, I tell you, for most public sector infrastructure projects, finances are the biggest issue. It is an exception where finances are not an issue. The money is there.
It's an execution problem.
Absolutely. And the problem is people are skeptical. Today, if let's say we are to say that no question is going to be asked from that company, you make sure that the people of the city of Karachi are suffering. There are 6 universities on that very road. There are colleges, there are schools, there are hospitals. Then there are people, which is hundreds and thousands of people who travel on it on a daily basis. People are suffering, right? And it's not something by choice that we are not doing it. It's just that the situation, it's like a quagmire.
So how do we solve this problem? I mean, it's the people who are going to solve it, right? It's you going to solve it. Someone else is going to solve it.
I will solve it. Tomorrow, somebody is going to question me. I'll give an example. When Mustafa Kamal decided something, he was not questioned. When Nematullah Sahab decided something, he was not questioned. When Jamshed Nusarmanji Mehta, who brought electricity to Karachi, he was not questioned. I don't want Shehbaz Sharif to be questioned. He's the Prime Minister of Pakistan. His cabinet should not be questioned. I don't want Murad Ali Shah to be questioned. He is the chief executive of the province. But unfortunately, because of in the last 15-16 years, because of this blame game, these allegations, so-called experts. Now you might be an expert on finance. I come on TV, I do a press conference, I will just ridicule your reasoning, and your degrees, your experience, your exposure in the industry will just wither away, and what will go viral on social media is going to be that idiotic comment that somebody makes, right? So as a nation, I think we need to bear with these aspects. Tolerance level of us political leaders, we need to tolerate such things, yes, we need to persevere, but at the same time, I think in social discourse, we need to engage with each other, we need to explain each other's point of view without blame game to move forward. Now, any single person who comes on addresses a press conference, our political adversaries, do they actually know this issue? They will not.
They don't.
So we need to come out of this blame game. You have to protect those people. And I'll give you an example. If you look at the Criminal Procedure Code of Pakistan, that was given to us by the Goras. It was 1898, I believe, when the law was enacted. I think there's a section in that law, I think section 197, you can ask your team to check it, which said that the decisions of the executive, the collector, will not be called into question, or his decisions will be taken to be, he will not be prosecuted unless the contrary is proved. So the spirit back in the 19th century was that you empower the person who's supposed to run the state, and that practice continued in the earlier parts of Pakistan as well. Till I would say 1974, the last legislation that I've seen, it protects the public servants. Ever since NAP came into being, Ehtisab Bureau came into being, ever since this activism came into being, the onus has shifted now. And I think that's a root cause of the quagmire that we're in at this point of time.
So we should not see the red line completing anytime soon at this point?
To be honest, it will take another 2 years from now, the entire BRT to be completed. What we are trying to do at this point of time is the route, which is the add grade route with certain elevated structures. We are trying to have it completed by January of 2026.
Okay.
So we are working on this. This is not finalized. We are trying our best to resolve those issues so that we're able to deliver on that commitment. but 2 years for the entire project, and we are trying that in January 26, the
Some portion is opened.
not of the BRT, but the BRT infrastructure is complete so that the parallel infrastructure
parallel
can be
infrastructure.
fixed as well.
Okay. You see, that makes sense. Again, the transportation corridors, these projects are always a mess anywhere in the world. And, I'll be fairly open about it. The only places where it has succeeded in a timely manner are countries with a single party rule. I was in Beijing in all of July. One thing that worked there was just like you have to execute. There is nothing, as you said earlier, you have to execute regardless. If you don't execute, that is a problem. But being stuck in a quagmire, that cannot happen. And I think that's one of the theories behind all development.
But you see, that's, with respect, I disagree that that's the case in only one party governments, one party state. No. I think in any country of the world where there is rule of law, where people respect the rule, respect the law, and enforcement is not questioned, things can happen. Our problem as a society is that every single question that the government, every single decision the government takes, the decision is called into question. Now, I'll give an example. If I ask my officer to carry out a certain task and he carries out that task, a week later he is questioned that what you did was illegal, and the person against whom the decision is taken, he basically accuses him of asking for bribery, and that's why, because the money was not given, he carried out that decision. Where do we end up going? You will not see these things happening in Europe, you will not see these things happening even in Turkey, you will not see these things happening in United States. The sanctity of government decisions, I think, are extremely important. And in any country of the world where the government decisions are held in respect, right, their integrity is not questioned at all times, I think enforcement becomes a lot more easier.
Yep, that makes sense. So, Murtaza, on BRT, so you have the red line. There are a lot more buses that we can run on a lot more routes. See, that's the problem I see in Karachi. So much more that can be done, so much more that can be worked through public-private partnership. I would appreciate Sindh on actually running the best public-private partnership framework in all of country. Why don't we see more buses in Karachi? Let's just, red line means we understand. Cost escalation issues, project management, blah, 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 too much. We have a great white bus that's running. Why can't we have 20 similar routes open as well? What's stopping us there?
The processes. Personally, I feel I'm not a personal fan of these BRTs. I tend to agree with your mindset that we should have more buses plying on normal roads instead of having a dedicated corridor. The government right now is running about 350 buses. The city needs 15,000 buses. I am of the view that we should deregulate this entire industry. We should allow private sector to come in. We should give certain specifications that this is the sort of buses that can run, let's say, electric buses, environment friendly. This will be the size. They just come, take permission from us.
So why isn't this happening?
I think generally we, as a country, we tend to believe in regulating things.
So that's the thing. Now, I strongly agree with you that that's one thing just really
just open it up.
Though, there's a need to fix every price. There is a time when jalebi price is also fixed, samosa price is also fixed. It's just dumb at this point. I'm going to fairly call it out there. And I think KMC fixes a lot of these.
KMC does not fix anything.
Someone in the government at a district level, at the DC level, fixes tons of prices. Price of milk is fixed, price of meat is fixed, price of samosa, jalebi. If you go to during Ramzan or even beyond Ramzan, you've got a list of fixed price of samosa. Who exactly decides what samosa?
You are someone who's traveled. Are the oil prices fixed?
Never. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be.
So that's the problem. I am of the view that we need to go towards deregulating things. We need to open up our things. A political leader or a bureaucrat, we should not be deciding these things. We should, that's the advantage of an open economy. But this needs to start from the top. We need to create that enabling environment, and my request to anyone who's looking into it would be to, once we decide this, that there should not be such cumbersome regulations, then we should let people be.
So that is the thing, Murtaza.
Can I just to make it very simple, and I'll say it in Urdu so that a common man understands. पहले आप कहते हो कि दूध के निर्ख तय होने चाहिए, फिर जो दूध का निर्ख तय करता है उसके ऊपर इल्ज़ाम लगाते हो उसने सही निर्ख तय किया है या नहीं किया है, फिर इल्ज़ाम लगाते हो उसने पैसे लेके किया है या पैसे नहीं लेके किया है. तो क्यों करते हैं हम ये सब कुछ? हमें नहीं करना चाहिए. We should let competition come into play, let people improvise.
Let the market decide.
Absolutely.
So what needs to change? I mean, provincial
mindset.
Some law, some regulation needs to change, right? Because someone somewhere is notifying a price, and they are notifying the price on the basis of some legislative whatever.
For oil and gas, it is the
federal. We just strictly at a city level.
Asan karke. Because oil is extremely important. Petroleum, it has to do, gas has to do with us. So OGRA does it. OGRA law needs to be fixed in that manner. There is an Essential Price Commodities Act in the province.
Yes.
And it's in every province. That allows the commissioner basically to fix the price of certain essential
Why do
commodities.
We still have that?
We should not have it. I'm a believer that we should let go of it. We should, the state should only come in when there is some sort of a monopolistic trend which is disturbing a common man.
Well, actually, the price fix leads to a monopolistic trend. It
Absolutely.
just works that way. I mean, as of right now, even the price of certain medicines is fixed by the federal cabinet, which is just insanity at a different level, but that's a different point. So
that's the
point
law.
Being, we're fully aligned with you on this, that the prices need to be deregulated and let the market decide rather than some provincial government or some federal government deciding, who have absolutely no idea how any of this even works.
They may have an idea. Because there is a
but they're not market participants.
Yes.
They're not market participants.
Because there is a political.
They do not have complete information.
Yes, because there is a political cost to every decision. So they might have that sort of understanding, but they're not the experts with regards to determination of the price.
No one is. That's the best part.
Let the market do it.
All right, perfect. So on transport, we are saying we need to open up more routes. Some regulation needs to change. Some law needs to be done. How can we do that? What can the public do differently? How can the public support you in this?
I can take up this issue with the provincial government. What I can offer at this point of time is that through this we should raise this issue, that if any private investor wants to come in and wants to bring new buses to the city of Karachi, I assure you that there will be no red tape. They come in with their buses and the route will be allowed.
I mean, it should be fairly simple. You've got 30 different routes,
absolutely.
X number of ridership on this route, let the market take the risk on it. Yes, you may have some viability gap fund, and that's how PPP since has been fairly successful and executed a lot of similar transactions. I think this should be fairly straightforward.
I personally feel that...
why should the state be running buses like they do it?
Absolutely. So again, this is my offer through this podcast. If anyone is interested in running buses in the city of Karachi and let's say proposes that he has 1,000 buses that he's ready and willing to run on the streets of Karachi, I will be the brand ambassador of that enterprise.
Wonderful. All right, so transportation we're kind of done here. Coming to water. So water always, this is just so much that can be done. I always say we don't have a resource problem, we have a distribution problem. And what we've seen is that the cost of water per gallon, I've done some numbers, I've done some studies, cost of water per gallon in Karachi is actually higher than many rich cities in the world. Sydney, Toronto, Paris or whatever, it's higher than that because we don't get a lot of piped water. What we actually get is water from tankers. And we've actually legalized and kosherized tankers when the city's water utility starts providing tankers. Why can't we just improve and fix the pipes? Yes, it requires capex, it requires a lot of work, but sending water through pipes will always be more cost efficient and cheaper and safer than sending water through tankers.
Now tell me, how should I respond to this, in English or Urdu? Because I want
Urdu,
people,
let's do it in Urdu. Let's do it in
I
Urdu.
want people to understand.
Let's do it in Urdu. We'll do a translation ticker on that.
Okay. Karachi, at this point of time, अगर आज की तारीख पे आप देखें तो कराची के बारे में कहा जाता है कि कराची की पानी की रिक्वायरमेंट है 1100 मिलियन गैलन पानी की पर डे। कराची की जो टोटल सप्लाई इस वक्त कराची शहर में पहुंच रही है वो पहुंच रही है तकरीबन 550 और 600 MJD के बीच में। सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ नंबर्स, आप नंबर्स के आदमी हो तो मैं नंबर्स में अगर हम समझाऊँ आपको तो वी आर एट 50% ऑफ द एक्चुअल डिमांड। When there is a shortage of, or when there is a difference between demand and supply, naturally उस कम पानी के साथ आप पूरे शहर को केटर नहीं कर सकते। अब आप लोग सवाल ये पूछते हैं कि अगर टैंकर के ज़रिए वो पानी आ सकता है तो वो पाइप के ज़रिए क्यों नहीं आता। टैंकर, इस वक्त बहुत सारे लोग आर्ग्यूमेंट करते हैं कि कराची दुनिया का वाहिद शहर है जहाँ पे टैंकर चल रहे हैं। मैं एग्जांपल दूंगा, दिल्ली में टैंकर चल रहे हैं और अगर लास्ट इलेक्शन देखें आप दिल्ली का तो वहाँ पे कोर इशू जो था वो पानी के ऊपर टैंकर्स का था। इस्लामाबाद में अब टैंकर्स चलना शुरू हो गए हैं और उसकी बुनियादी वजह है डिमांड सप्लाई का गैप। कराचीज़ सिंस द लास्ट 20 years, this is the information that I've inherited, that Karachi's requirement is 1100 million gallons of water a day and Karachi's current supply is between 550 to 600 million gallons of water a day. So we are at approximately 50% of the demand. So there is a tremendous difference between the demand and supply. 1100 मिलियन गैलन डेली पानी चाहिए और सप्लाई कितना हो रहा है 550-600 के दरमियान। शॉर्टेज है। जब शॉर्टेज होती है, when there is a difference in demand and supply, then people come up with extraordinary ways of ensuring that the supply is ensured.
I will interject here, Mr. Justin. One way to manage that is actually price. You're already paying higher price
I'm coming
for
to that.
water tanker.
How much do you pay? You were saying in your question, you said the price of Karachi is a lot higher.
Yeah.
Let me correct you on that. Karachi Water Sewerage Corporation charges 29.8 paisas per gallon.
So that is the problem.
So wait, let me just. We are perhaps the only city in the world of this size that brings water from a distance of 125 kilometers. From Kinjur to Karachi, that's the distance, right? If we increase this amount, political questions are asked, right? That's first challenge. The second is that when you question me from the perspective of a person who's getting water from the tanker, he is paying approximately between 2.5 rupees to 3 rupees per gallon. So there's a difference. If I try to increase the price, there is a political cost that one has to pay, right? People will call me all sorts of names when I take a decision like this. But somewhere to the root of the issue, this pricing is a challenge. Now I want to just explain this game. So the water starts from Kinjur, and let's say the most common area where these tankers come is the area of Clifton and Defence, and that's where we have the biggest hue and cry coming from, and rightfully so.
Just to interject here, Clifton Defence water, there are many localities where people just use water cans because they don't have continuous supply of water at home, and even those water cans are much more expensive on a per gallon basis than, let's say, tankers. So if you raise price, see, people at a household level, you're already paying a higher price for water. Might as well pay the high price to the utility than to 10 other private entities which are unregulated, unregistered,
I agree with that,
so on and so forth.
But that's the tendency of our society. We would not like to pay the government for collecting waste, but the kid who's outside our home, he comes, collects the trash from our place, we are ready and willing to pay him 500 rupees. That's the trend of our society, unfortunately.
So that is the behavioral change that's required. What do we do there? Stick with water. Let's just continue with water.
But that's a very fair point that you've made. Stop political bickering on that.
I agree with you. Agreed.
We should have certain common agendas. So water. So when the water starts from Kinjur From Kinjar it comes to Dhabeji, Gharo, Malir, different parts of Malir. Then Malir, it breaks into 3 different portions to cater to different areas of the city of Karachi. So one portion from Malir goes through Landhi, Korangi, and then comes to Masjid Aisha.
Okay.
That goes to DHA. One portion of it comes from Share Faisal to, do you remember this place, this store called Macro? It used to be there in Lines area 15 years ago. There's a reservoir over there. It comes over there. From there, it branches out to one side which is Mahmudabad, one side which goes towards Clifton, Jinnah Aspatal and all, and then towards Liari and Kimadi, and then so on and so forth. So when you pump water from point A, the population has risen so much from different areas. So when the water starts from Kinjar all the way to Masjid Aisha, all the way to, let's say, Clifton, all the way to Liari, just look at the population that has increased. So the district of Korangi is no longer the same district of Korangi as it was 10 years ago.
Agreed.
Factories have increased, the buildings have increased. Similarly, when you go towards Shahid-e-Millat Road, Share Qaideen,
Massive.
right? So when the population increases, the water consumption increases. So people have gotten the connections. So by the time the turn of, let's say, Masjid Aisha comes, or the time of, let's say, Macro Habib Lines area comes, Clifton comes, Liari comes, the pressure of the water just goes away. Why? Because the population has increased. So there is a concept of these hydrants which is twofold. The first target is, in cases of fire, they serve as a resource for ensuring uninterrupted supply of water. Fire hydrants, you used to hear this. The second aspect is to cater to areas where there is no infrastructure, water infrastructure, or where the water does not reach. So what you do is, instead of sending the water like this, and because there is population here on these sides, and the water will not reach, what you do is you create this vehicle which goes like this and brings water, right? So that becomes like a dedicated supply. It should not happen.
It's entirely possible to create a pipe for there rather than just like having a
fantastic.
See, that's a bit trying to solve a problem which was solved like 1,000 years back at this point.
No. You see, when you bring a pipe, the pipe would cater to which water? This 550 mgd, right? Pani to yahi hai. So there are 2 things that we need to do. We need to augment the supply. We need to make sure that the supply is enhanced. B, we need to make sure that there is a dedicated line that reaches to a certain destination.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So currently, we've done 3 things. We've done the Hub Canal project, which gets us more water, additional water. Number 2, we are constructing 2 dedicated lines, which is going to be an elevated structure, so that no connection can stem out from it. One we are doing along the Liari river bank, which will bring 10 million gallons of water to Liari and Kemadi, and one we are bringing on the bank of the Mali river along Sharai Bhutto, which will bring 10 million gallons of water to Masjid Aisha. So we are doing that now. This was never done in the past. We've taken this bold decision that okay, we'll have a dedicated supply come over there, but there's a capital cost to it, right? We are incurring that expense, and we are hoping that it will lead.
Why can't we do it? I'm just going, just a thought. Why can't we reform Karachi Water and Supply Corporation? It is now, instead of a board. Why can't we have more public-private partnership projects for a pipeline? It's fairly common that a tolling can be given to that, and you can actually price it out, because again, people are already paying that price. Through a 3-year, 5-year, 7-year plan, why can't we reform the whole process?
I'm precisely doing that for the Masjid Aisha project. I've told the government I need 10 billion rupees for this project, which the government has committed, and I've said that this should be given as a loan. I will do it in a commercial manner, because I feel there should be no free lunch.
Yeah.
Right? So we are doing it, we are going towards it. But again, Ammar, the problem is, you've gone through our public-private partnership process. is the procurement process easy?
It's painful. We talked about the buses right now, the SEPRA thing right now.
That's our problem. I need to, and I say this with complete sincerity and dedication, that we need to reform our procurement process in the country.
Makes sense.
We have absolutely stifled.
I don't think there's a single person who disagrees with this.
But there's nobody who will actually reform it.
Because again, whoever reforms it gets screwed.
That's the problem. So we need to give this protection to whoever is deciding it. That's why I said, I'm not a fan of, let's say, the Prime Minister. He's not very kind to my city. I keep saying this. But I said this in the earlier part of the interview, that he's the Prime Minister of the country. He should be protected. Murad Ali Shah is the Chief Minister of the province. He should be protected. Right now we're facing a flood situation. If our officers start to look into procurement processes, do you think we'll be able to deliver? Yeah. We won't be able to. Procurement process is a bigger pain in the backside than red line.
Yeah, and that I agree. And
so that's the problem. I say this to you with confidence. And I'll give an example. I was doing the Hub Canal project. The Sindh government wanted to do it on public-private partnership since 2020. We couldn't do it due to one reason or the other. When I became the mayor, I went to the Chief Minister and I said, sir, I want to do it directly. And I said, sir, I have found a government organization which is ready to do it. I need this amount of money. 13 billion rupees were required. The provincial cabinet was kind. They gave me the money. And the thing which was not completed in 4.5 years, we completed in 9.5 months. Because it was a G2G transaction, no procurement. So we need to, this is the root of our, the bane of our problems. And we need to start talking on this. We need to put pressure on our policymakers. And
I'm a policymaker at that time.
I'm a policymaker at the local level. When I was working at the provincial government level, I used to speak very clearly about this problem. I think I tell you on a daily basis, we carry out a procurement process. There are 99 bidders of a transaction. One person gets it, 98 people are offended. Those people, somebody goes to NAB, somebody goes to FIA, somebody goes to anti-corruption, somebody goes to court. And I will give you instances where the court says,
scrap the process. I've seen it multiple times, yes.
This is, forward looking, if you have to move forward.
Let's come to sewage now.
Can I just, with regards to water, way forward, we need to do 2-3 things. We need to enhance the water supply, which we've done partly by way of hub, and hopefully K4, once it gets completed, that will address the issue. We are going towards alternate sources of water. So water treatment is a priority of our political manifesto. We started working on it to do tertiary treatment of our municipal water and give it to the industries. So we've done some pilot projects, and hopefully by the end of this year, you will be seeing some tangible results on that front. Karachi right now, we require 150 million gallons of water for industrial use, and that is the fresh water that is used, right? So we can open up that avenue. It will mitigate our water miseries because we'll be able to use the dumped water
for industrial use.
And we'll be able to also improve or protect our marine life. So that's another area that we are working on, and hopefully by the end of this year you will see some tangible results. I'd love to take you and your team over there and you can see what we're doing. Third is desalination, because the way the city is growing, the way the population is growing, depending on only rainwater or river water is too risky for a city of our size. We need to go towards desalination like the Middle East has as a dependable, certain source of water supply. So that's another area that we're working on, though it's very expensive.
It is very expensive.
We are working on it as a pilot project to cater to our needs, and if we are successful, then we'll be able to do it at a bigger level.
So extending water, let's come to sewage. From my information, it may be incorrect. We don't treat any sewage. It just gets dumped in the water.
Information is incorrect.
Okay, because that is the
common
whole, the noise out there says So there are absolutely no sewage treatment plants, and everything just gets dumped. How does the sewage system works?
When I took over on the 19th of June 2023, your statement was correct.
Okay.
We were not treating sewage. We started working on the plants. Happy to inform that 54 million gallons of raw sewage is treated at our sewerage treatment plant at Mauripur, that's called TP3.
Okay.
So that's the plant that is functioning. The second plant is TP1, which is at Harunabad site industrial area, Gutter Baghija. We are working on a secondary treatment plant facility of 35 million gallons of water a day. The deadline of that project was 30th August, but because of the rain situation, it has slightly gotten delayed by about a few weeks. So 30th September, I'm looking at that we'll be able to operationalize 35 million gallons of sewage at Gutter Baghija. Then we are supposed to enhance it to 100 million gallons, and we are supposed to enhance the Mauripur facility to 100 million gallons. We are working on that. So our target is that if all goes well, by the end of 2026, we will be in a position to treat 200 million gallons of sewage secondary treatment. Now that secondary treatment is not so good enough for industrial use. We need it slightly better, that is called tertiary treatment.
Okay.
So we are doing two pilot projects. One pilot project of 500,000 gallon we did at TP1 Mauripur, that worked out well. We got the samples which were very promising. So now we've engaged with site industrial area, that because the Harunabad treatment plant is over there and that's where the industries are situated, we will use that water to give it to them, and we've somewhat reconciled on the commercial value or the commercial probability of the project as well. So once inshallah we are able to do the 35 mgd secondary treatment, we will be converting that secondary treatment into tertiary treatment, and I'm giving myself another 6 months for that. So I'm giving you two timelines, that we should in the next 6 months be moving towards using our treated sewage towards industrial use, and by the end of 2026 we should be treating 200 million gallons of sewage, and then we can decide whether we use it for industrial use or we dump it into the ocean.
All right, wonderful. So just one thing on
TP4 is another project that I can quote, which is going to address Korangi Creek. Its capacity is 180 million gallons of treatment. That project is being undertaken under the public-private partnership mode, and we've started the process of procurement. I believe the EOI has been floated.
So that will be 380 million. So that will be fairly close to our 550 consumption. But if it's
I feel it's a start.
It's a start.
It's an area where I think all over the country we were not focusing on. I think this is an area where perhaps Karachi will be able to lead.
Do we have a water plan for this matter? I mean, it's a very complex situation, and there isn't enough supply coming in, a lot of water is being wasted, it's not being priced correctly. Is there even a strategic plan for water?
We are working on a water master plan. The water master plan would cater to both the economic requirement as well as infrastructure requirement. We've engaged a foreign consultant for that. They've submitted a preliminary report to the board of KWSC. We are going through it, so we are working on it.
Wonderful. Another thing on water, I'm sorry, like very obsessed about it. So water in a lot of countries, there are two prices of water. The fresh water that comes into your house and the sewage that goes out. We're not even charging for the sewage at this point. Again, coming back to pricing, on a 3-year, 5-year level, how do you make the whole water economy sustainable?
People move forward, countries move forward. You know, back 20 years ago, there used to be a separate water and sewerage bill.
I'm not aware.
It was somebody's brainchild, my predecessor. Let's not take the name because then it will lead to acrimony. They decided to merge it. And that's our problem, right? So we were more
ahead
advanced,
of the curve.
yeah, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was somebody's brainchild that let's just merge it. and now I'm trying to divide it. I've gotten a symbolic approval from the board of KWSC that we should, because a lot of people, when they say that, you know, we will not pay KWSC bill because we're not getting any water, that's a fair statement, but at the same time they're using our Sewerage line to take the water out of their homes.
Exactly.
And they're not paying for that.
Exactly.
So that's an area where KWSC is currently working on. It's part of our reform process. Though I feel it will again be challenged by our political adversaries, it will be called into question, but I think it's something that needs to be decided, and we plan on deciding it and implementing it pretty soon. Secondly, you see, we have 550 million gallons of water a day.
Yeah.
If we calculate by 30 paisas, we should be collecting 4.5 billion rupees a month.
Absolutely.
We are collecting at this point of time, and this has increased over the last 1 year. We are crossing 2 billion rupees now in terms of our revenue. When I took over, our revenue was 900 million. Now we are crossing 2 billion rupees.
All right, Murtaza, it was wonderful speaking to you, and I think I've barely done with 1/3 of what I had planned. We would want to actually learn from you more, discuss with you more, and really see what can we do about Karachi. Does a master plan really exist? What do we do? Where do we go from here? And how can the public, the people support you or whoever the mayor's office in this endeavor?
Thank you so much. I think it was a good experience coming on this podcast. Surprisingly, we focused on core issues. We spoke on technicalities that usually we don't do on conventional podcasts or television shows. I would be very happy to engage with you again. I can commit to coming over here, let's say once a month, and we can focus on certain subjects, that this is the core issue, let's have a conversation on this, get people to ask me questions. I'm ready and willing to be accountable on those questions, convey my side of the story, that such are the bottlenecks. It's not like that we don't have the will to do it, but we have certain issues that I'd like to explain to the people of Karachi, and then collectively we can find those issues and build the momentum for having a Karachi which is inclusive, which is tolerant, which is developed, which is sustainable and peaceful.
Man, absolutely. Thank you. And I always say this. I mean, people hate me for this. I would say Karachi is safer than London, Toronto, and New York at the same time. There are more carjackings in Toronto. A lot of my family will hate me for saying this than in Karachi at this point.
I'm personally a victim of, my car has not been stolen from Karachi, but in Toronto.
There are more mobile snatchings that happen in London than in Karachi.
And that's the thing, you see, they protect their image. They brand themselves as a country of immigrants, right? Canada. But when it comes to Karachi, right, we just focus on the negative aspects. Yes, there are issues, but I tell you, I love the city from the bottom of my heart, and I'm here by choice, and I want to do everything which is within the capacity of any well-meaning individual to make things better for our future generations.
Thank you, Murtaza, for your time. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, thank you. And we will continue this conversation in a few weeks, and let's just ask Murtaza more about what more can be done about Karachi. Thank you, and until next time, bye.